A man is dead after an altercation with Regina police. Saskatchewan's role in one of the worst wildfire years yet. And what's behind an influx in Dutch elm disease.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Thank you for watching. Saskatchewan's Serious Incident Response Team is investigating after a fatal officer-involved shooting this morning. As Angela Stewart explains, one person is dead after the encounter with Regina police.
Gunfire broke out in the community of North Central this morning, which has left one person dead. Now, the details are limited, but here's what we know so far. Just after 10 a.m., Regina police were conducting an investigation at one of the homes on the 1300 block of Garnet Street. We're unsure of what transpired during that investigation, but one officer did discharge their firearm, which killed one person. Colin Morey, who lives nearby, says he was inside of his home when he heard what sounded like gunshots, and quickly thereafter, a heavy police presence showed up. Morey says it's not unusual to see lots of police in the community of North Central at times.
Normal for around here, but to people who don't live in North Central and don't really hear gunshots or fireworks every day, it can be scary. But the police force, I really thank them. They got here in enough time to assist their officer, and they got it dealt with.
CERT has taken over the investigation and is asking anyone who witnessed the incident or has video of it to contact them to speak to an investigator. Regina police echoing that and are hopeful anyone with information will come forward. Angela Stewart, CTV News, Regina.
A Regina chiropractor found guilty of sexual assault is appealing his conviction and sentence. Donovan Mace has details on what the defense calls a miscarriage of justice.
Regina-based chiropractor Ruben Mans has filed an appeal after being convicted of sexual assault late last year. The charges stem from complaints by 7 different women claiming to be inappropriately touched during chiropractic treatment over the span of 10 years. In December 2024, Mans was found guilty of 1 count of sexual assault by a jury and sentenced to 15 months of community service in June. That same jury acquitted him of 5 other sexual assault charges while not being able to come to a unanimous decision for the 7th complaint, and a retrial was ordered for that specific charge. Now, according to Mann's appeal, the defense believes trial judge Justice Janet McMurtry erred in law by preventing the defense from presenting evidence at trial relating to the appellant's regulatory body's decision about a complainant. She erred in her instructions to the jury on matters of evidence, the burden of proof, and the elements of the offense. The defense also claims the Crown's closing submissions were improper and caused a miscarriage of justice, and that the judge failed to address or correct issues of Crown conduct, including the Crown's opening and closing statements. She also failed to declare a mistrial and erred in dismissing the appellant's application for an exemption for a firearms prohibition. Now, no dates have been set for when the retrial nor the appeal will be heard by the court, but the defense says if the appeal is allowed, it wishes to be retried by jury once again. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
A Saskatoon mother is raising concern about a pigeon problem. She says she's worried about serious health risks for her toddler who has a chronic illness. CTV's Stacey Hine has that story.
Nest right here. For Loren Hellstrom, cleaning up after pigeons has become a daily routine.
I have to come out here every single day to get rid of the nest, to get rid of the feathers, to get rid of these eggs. This is absolutely disgusting.
Hellstrom says she's been trying to keep the birds away for months, using spikes, sound machines, lights, but nothing has worked. She says she's concerned for her 3-year-old daughter, who has a chronic lung disease that makes her vulnerable to respiratory irritants, including pigeon feathers and droppings.
Really, a pigeon infestation is dangerous for everybody, but especially for a child that is so vulnerable to lung infections.
Hellstrom requested a disability accommodation, asking permission from the property management company to install a pigeon net on her balcony, offering to pay for it herself and providing doctor's letters to support her request. But it was denied.
They told me that it had something to do with wind vortexes, aesthetic reasons, and structural reasons. I have sent over a detailed plan for from a professional pigeon net installer.
Hellstrom says she's now filed a complaint with the Saskatchewan Human Rights Commission.
I feel very discriminated against because I don't know how to keep my daughter's lungs safe here. This is where we live. I own this place. I don't rent it. I can't just get up and move.
CTV News reached out to Toronto Acquisition Management for comment, but did not get a response by deadline. Meanwhile, Hellstrom says she will continue to advocate for her daughter's health. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Dutch elm disease is spreading in Regina at a concerning rate. City officials say they have confirmed 18 new cases in these past 2 weeks. Here's Wayne Mantika to put those numbers in perspective for us.
The 2 Wascana Park trees infected by Dutch elm disease were located just west of the Science Centre in an area known as Goose Hill. They were promptly removed earlier this week.
We have 2 confirmed cases of Dutch elm disease in the park. We've taken about 45 samples, submitted them to the lab, and only 2 have come back positive. So that's only a 5% positive rate or thereabouts. So that's acceptable.
18 new cases of Dutch elm disease have been found in Regina over the past 2 weeks. That's in addition to the 17 reported by the city 2 weeks ago. Dry weather has weakened elms, making them more susceptible. It's also causing other species to show signs of weather-related stress, including the tallest tree in Wascana Park.
And that's our current champion tree for spruce trees in the park too. So it's our tallest, biggest diameter, best example. That declining has been very slow, and I'm not overly concerned about that.
Wascana Centre is confident that trees facing weather-related stress can bounce back. It's more concerned about the presence of Dutch elm disease. Keeping that in check will take a community effort through steps which include not transporting elm firewood into the city, not trimming elms over the summer months, and reporting trees that appear to be diseased to the appropriate authorities. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
All right, here she is, the lady with important information. It's important for producers, people planning things on the weekend, trees. Sabine, what's the forecast looking like?
Well, the rain is returning. We've seen a lot of that rain throughout the last couple of weeks, Morgan. We did see some temperatures kind of getting close to what our average is for this time of year, but a little cooler still over the last week. Today, as you can see on the radar satellite, not a whole lot happening when it comes to precipitation or active weather, but we are seeing a lot of severe thunderstorm watches, you can see actually in Alberta. And tomorrow we will start to see the system that's currently sitting in Alberta make its way into Saskatchewan. Many parts in southern Saskatchewan could see quite a bit of rainfall, including areas just close to the southern border. But there is rain expected for many parts of the province. Now, today we did see temperatures get really close to what that average is, and that average is, like I said, about 25, 26 degrees. Here in Regina, we did get up to 23 degrees, but warmer temperatures are on the way. I'll have more details on that, including when exactly the rain is expected to arrive and just how much and where, all in your forecast. Morgan?
All right, thanks, Sabine. Well, this wildfire season is one of the worst in recent memory, not just for Saskatchewan, but all of Canada. According to federal officials, fires have destroyed more than 5.5 million hectares so far this year. That's more than double the 10-year average for July. 561 wildfires are burning across the country, including 51 in Saskatchewan. With a closer look at evacuations and rebuilding efforts in our province, here's Jasmine Pelchier.
Fire crews from Australia, Mexico, and across Canada are working to fight the ongoing fires in Saskatchewan. Some of the international firefighters are working with crews near Beauval, where wildfires have been threatening the community for weeks.
It's stressful. It's been 18 days since these fires started. I think it was June 29th. The first lightning strikes started it up. We went through Canada with our celebrations. And then right after that, we went into evacuation and firefighting mode.
The Liberty says that while they've been successful at keeping houses safe, the fight is far from over. Meanwhile, in Prince Albert National Park, the bullfire continues to burn at the northern boundary, 31 kilometers from Waskesiu. Some business owners say the situation has put them in a challenging spot.
We're having people ask, well, what's the danger? And we say, well, Parks is saying there is no danger. And then they say, well, then why are they telling you not to come? And the answer is, I don't know. I assume it's probably logistics, managing an evacuation if it were to come to that.
A media release from Parks Canada says the fire did not move significantly towards any nearby communities, but that weather conditions in the area could cause the fire to spread. As of Friday afternoon, there are 51 active wildfires burning across the province, 12 uncontained. The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says 1,700 evacuees from 8 different communities have been either completely or partially evacuated. The province has secured permission from the Department of National Defence to use a fire camp if needed, although the SPSA says it is not necessary at this time. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Waskesiu.
BHP has announced it will delay production at the Jansen potash mine from late 2026 to mid-2027. The company says the cost of stage 1 of the project has jumped from around $5.7 billion U.S. to more than $7 billion. BHP says given the potential for additional potash supply coming to market, it's also considering delaying first production from Jansen's second phase by 2 years to 2031. Premier Scott Moe is making national headlines this week, urging Canadian leaders to join the New West Partnership. But as more provinces focus on internal trade, does it make sense to have more agreements, or is a streamlined approach the best way to go? Keenan Sorokon investigates.
Removing internal trade barriers may not be as straightforward as it seems.
Weaving together a thread that will encompass the entire nation, that's a challenge.
Keith Willoughby, the Dean of Edwards School of Business at the U of S, says Scott Moe's offer on Thursday to have all provinces join the New West Partnership trade agreement makes for a complicated deal. With Alberta, BC, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba already signed on, inviting other provinces and their priorities into the agreement might limit the effectiveness of it.
I think where we've seen it work well in Western Canada, it's not necessarily certain that this is going to have that same positive impact when you extend it across the nation.
Moe admitted on Thursday having more signatures won't solve everything.
But it's the clearest and most straightforward path.
But the Canadian Federation of Independent Business isn't so sure, since there's already the Canadian Free Trade Agreement.
We're just cautious of having this patchwork of different agreements that are now existing at the same time and just creating more red tape.
Plenty of progress has been made to reduce trading obstacles since tariff threats emerged south of the border. But Solberg says these agreements exist for a reason.
Provinces are being a bit protectionist. They're trying to protect their tax base, their labor pool. And so we need to, we need to see actions that actually prove that we're serious about breaking down those barriers.
Interprovincial trade accounts for roughly 18% of Canada's GDP. Willoughby says 4 decades ago it accounted for about 26%. And if agreements like New West are going to work, premiers have to get serious about trading with international markets. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A Regina nonprofit has been awarded a $10,000 scholarship to bring climate awareness education to the next generation. Break the Divide is getting an 18-month fellowship courtesy of AstraZeneca. The nonprofit plans to use the money to help students and teachers provide more education on climate solutions, developing a plan to make Regina more sustainable going forward.
We've been hearing directly from young people about how they feel about the state of the environment in Regina and in Saskatchewan over the past year. And what they've said is very clear. They want better urban density. They want walkable areas of the city. They want improved transit. And all of those are climate solutions that help everyone. Young people have also talked about, ties with the fossil fuel industry and the ways in which we continue to pollute and extract from the lands. A lot of Indigenous youth have talked about Indigenous ways of knowing and connecting with nature, being one with the land.
Since 2017, Break the Divide has expanded internationally in places like Peru, South Africa, and India.
Still ahead, assessing the scope of a devastating Canadian wildfire season. And are we more concerned with political correctness than our southern neighbors?
Here in Saskatchewan, the scope of summer wildfires is clear. And it's not just our province dealing with the devastation. Officials in Ottawa are issuing warnings and urging caution for the rest of the year. CTV's Mike LeCouture has more on the update.
We're at the halfway point of the year, and while Canada isn't on track to break a record for wildfires, it could be the second worst year in the last decade. There are 561 wildfires burning across Canada right now, and conditions for the rest of the summer will be ripe for more. Still, federal officials say they're ready to protect communities.
Whether that's water bombers, whether that's a requirement for the Canadian Armed Forces to do an evacuation, whether that's helping with supplying things like fire hoses, whether that's it can be a broad assortment of matters that we're concerned with.
Officials say so far this year, wildfires have burned 5.5 million hectares of land. That's more than double the average over the last decade. To give you an idea of the scope, that's nearly 8 times the size of the Greater Toronto Area. Today, the federal government announced a $12 million investment over 4 years to establish the Wildfire Resilience Consortium of Canada.
It will connect domestic, international governments, the private sector, wildfire scientists and experts, and affected communities to share knowledge, science, and technology so we can fight fires better.
But it's not a national disaster agency, which was first considered 2 years ago during the record-setting wildfire season of 2023. And environmental researchers say prevention is also key.
There's absolutely a role to be played for different forms of forest management, including control burns, including various types of timber harvesting and things like that, that can be done to reduce the amount of fuel that's on the landscape.
But Kaplan is adamant. He says the big fires we're seeing now are being driven by climate change. And he adds the best way to mitigate the fires is to get a handle on greenhouse gas emissions. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Prime Minister Mark Carney will join Canada's premiers at the First Ministers' Conference next Tuesday. Ontario Premier Doug Ford hosting the meeting in the resort town of Huntsville. Once again, the trade war with the United States will top the agenda. U.S. President Donald Trump wants to impose a blanket 35% tariff on Canadian imports starting August 1st. And this comes on top of previously implemented duties on auto parts and industrial metals. In Winnipeg, a new landfill search is set to begin for the victims of a Manitoba serial killer. Authorities have finished searching the Prairie Green landfill. Now they're turning to Winnipeg's Brady Road landfill. The remains of 2 women have already been recovered, Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron. Authorities are hoping to find any trace of Ashley Shingoose. She's one of 4 First Nations women murdered by Jeremy Skibicki. At least 3 people are dead after an explosion at a Los Angeles County Sheriff's training facility. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi confirming the deaths online. Local media are reporting a bomb squad was moving some explosives when the blast happened. Bondi says federal agents are at the scene and the incident is under investigation. CBS has announced it's ending The Late Show. Stephen Colbert's last night in the chair will be in May of 2026.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And for me to be...
Colbert took over as host in 2015, replacing David Letterman. It's one of the highest rated shows on the late night circuit, but a source close to the network says the show is no longer profitable and Colbert is not being replaced. CBS says its decision is purely financial, but it has raised questions. Colbert has been one of U.S. President Donald Trump's fiercest critics, and the cancellation comes just days after CBS made a $16 million settlement with the president. A new poll finds both Canadians and Americans say it's becoming more important to be politically correct. CTV's Craig Krause has more on how comedians are navigating these societal shifts.
Your typical sounds of downtown Vancouver begin to shift once the sun sets.
Welcome to Comedy After Dark.
It's here where rumbles of laughter leak out onto the streets.
The popularity of comedy, is that growing in recent years?
Oh, yes. Yeah, comedy's exploded.
Comedy After Dark plays host to dozens of comedians every week. And for Susie Rossum, she has watched the pendulum of material swing.
Well, it felt like it really went one way for a while, and it was very politically correct. But it's like, it's getting to a point where there's a lot more freedom, I think, to say what you think.
According to a new survey from Research Co., about a third of Canadians believe comedians should always or most of the time behave in a politically correct way.
You know, anybody that says words hurt has never been punched in the face.
Aside from comedians, the same poll shows the concept of political correctness is on the rise on both sides of the border.
Well, when we first asked about this question back in 2020, we actually had a larger proportion of Americans, 53%, who believed in the concept of a political correctness. And in Canada, we were at 50%. Last time we checked back in 2022, Canada went to 55%, and now it's at 59%.
Politically, the data shows 45% of Canadians who voted for the Conservatives in this year's federal election reject the concept of political correctness.
There's a significant chasm there that we just don't see with the Liberals or the New Democrats.
Some say political correctness has diminished too much, while others disagree.
I feel like where we are right now, it's like very dangerous.
I think we're just right. Although some may disagree what's politically correct or not, Rossum says hate has no room in society or comedy.
Be a risk taker, and I think that we need to do more of that in this life in general, not just in comedy. You know, people are so safe all the time.
Craig Crow, CTV News, Vancouver.
Coming up, an old-fashioned Saskatchewan snowplane celebrates a summer homecoming. Details after weather.
For the first time in nearly 2 decades, there's a new face of Cougar women's basketball. Monday morning, we're reintroducing you to Michaela Kleisinger with her plans for the program.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at your forecast heading into this evening and into the weekend. And yes, there is rain on the way, but take a look at how great today has been. People are out on Wascana Lake enjoying the beautiful day that we have had here in Regina. Currently sitting at 23 degrees, winds just under 15 kilometers an hour. We didn't really see much in terms of active weather come through today. The warmest we did get up to was 24 degrees, so very close to what our average is for this time of year. And as you take a look at what we have on our radar satellite over the last couple of hours, hasn't really been much. Yes, we've seen a little bit of scattered precipitation coming through the Saskatoon and even down into around the Parkland area. But other than that, it's been a pretty mostly clear day for much of the province. Now, what's to come, that's a different story. So again, this is the tail end of that system that we are seeing on that radar satellite, making its way eastward into Manitoba. As we head into tonight, we will see conditions clear, but it's not until we get into tomorrow that we start to see that system come through. Now, first thing tomorrow, around 7 a.m., we will see that system first make its way into the Maple Creek, Swift Current area, even Lloydminster, before late afternoon getting into the Saskatoon, Regina, down into the Assiniboia area. So heavy rain is expected along just this path, you can see, and it does look primarily that Assiniboia will be seeing a lot of rain coming through tomorrow. And I'll keep showing you as the system moves forward. By the time we head into the evening, we'll see that system more so settle into the Estevan area around 7 o'clock before it does start to clear out. But we're going to continue to see rain and these systems sticking around into Sunday as well. Early morning Sunday, we can see that long band of precipitation from Lloydminster, Prince Albert through Saskatoon, Wynyard, even into this Yorkton area. As that clears out, we'll continue to see more pockets of that rain coming through, and then more storm cells expected by Sunday late afternoon. And you can see a lot in and around the Moose Jaw, Regina area, Wynyard, and even into Yorkton as we continue throughout your day Sunday. By the evening, heavier rainfall expected for Yorkton. So Yorkton and Assiniboia looking like they'll receive the bulk of this rain coming through, and I'll show you that on our tracker. Now, this tracker does mirror this rainfall map does mirror what our tracker is showing. So again, Assiniboia could see up to 40 millimeters of rain between now and to Monday morning. Yorkton up to 37 millimeters of rain. Regina looking to be close to about 10 millimeters of rain, and really you can see blanketing much of southern Saskatchewan. Kindersley up to 20, 10 for Maple Creek, 12 for Weyburn Estevan. So rain is expected, as you can see, right across much of the province over the weekend. Temperatures tomorrow, though, starting out very warm for areas like La Loche and La Ronge, getting into the high 20s. 19 and rain for Lloydminster. When we get closer to areas like Saskatoon, North Battleford, low 20s and some rain, of course, as we saw in that tracker. More cloudy conditions for Yorkton, 24, 23 in rain and a risk of thunderstorm for Maple Creek and for Swift Current at 21 degrees, 23 in rain for Moose Jaw. Southeast seeing similar temperatures. Estevan, again, won't see most of that rain until we get into late night tomorrow. For Regina, tonight, 11 degrees. Tomorrow, 23. Again, the rain expected to arrive around 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Continuing to stick around as we get into Sunday, and that's what you'll see on our next 7 days. So 23 tomorrow, rain, and 22 on Sunday. A break from the rain Monday, but then the wind arrives, so up to 50 kilometers an hour winds. 24 degrees is our expected daytime high Monday. Tuesday, rain returns. 21 is the daytime high, cooling to 20 degrees, nothing but cloud cover, but then we see the warm-up arrive. 27 degrees on Thursday, nothing but sunshine. By Friday, sunny and 29 degrees, and this will just be the start and a taste of what's to come as we near the end of July, where we will start to see those temperatures climbing back into around average, if not warmer than average temperatures. So the weekend, yes, not looking so great, but I know we do need that moisture for many parts of the province, especially in the southwest and other parts of the province. So we just gotta grin and bear it.
Hot and sunny this time next week.
Sorry.
It's always the carrot at the end for those who like that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. I'm happy with what's to come this weekend.
All right, thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, for a little while now, we've been following the story of a piece of prairie history. It started nearly 80 years ago with a traveling doctor in southeast Saskatchewan who was known for his unique mode of transportation. Now, his granddaughter is dedicated to keeping her family's story alive, and she's got some great props. Mick Fable explains.
Equipped with 4 skis and the propeller of a plane, this unique vehicle is getting a special homecoming in the town of Alameda. Found in the back of a museum hangar, a married couple with ties to the area put in hundreds of hours to get the snowplane back in prime condition.
It was in really poor condition, very rusted. I just started building parts. I didn't know it that well. As we got going, I got learning more and more about it. It's not like anything else.
Dr. Jerry Galloway was a physician in the area from the 1940s to the 1990s. He was the original owner of the snowplane, making house calls when needed. Liesl Gunderman is the granddaughter of Galloway and says the snowplane has been a memory generator for those seeing it come back to life.
We know a lady in her 90s that she was riding her horse up to it when my grandpa was coming along, and he shut down the machine so that he wouldn't scare her horse, and she was so thankful for that. A lot of stories have come forward that I don't think we would have known unless we restored the machine.
Otto Newman is 96 years old and spent his life in the area. He remembers Dr. Galloway using the back roads with the snowplane to get where he needed to go.
Some of the railroad he was a state president of Alameda, and he had to go to work, and the highways were plugged, and he used the snowplane a lot just to go to work. Yeah, and it was just a kind of a common thing at the time.
Now that the snowplane is restored, it will eventually be displayed at the Elkhorn Museum in Manitoba. Until then, Gunderman and Hunter plan to show the machine across the prairies, sharing their family history along the way.
I was lucky that we found it. It's lucky that I have a husband that's so handy, and it was lucky that my husband would care about something that I'm so sentimental about, because my grandparents, I thought they were amazing. They were really interesting people.
Mick Fable, CTV News, Alameda.
These local athletes are spinning with excitement, preparing to represent Canada at an international competition.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
As the Riders look to rebound from last week's loss, they're getting a much-needed boost in the receiving corps. Sam Emelis is listed to start versus the Lions.
He looked pretty good today, so, you know, if he feels like he can go out there and be himself, and who am I to say no to that?
It's easy to make sure I'm back 100%, you know. So, but like I always said, we have a strong group, and everybody can make plays, and we're showing this right now.
Emelis missed the past 3 games with a foot injury. In 2 games so far this season, he has 170 yards receiving on 12 catches. The addition of the Canadian receiver, though, means Regina product Mitch Picton is a scratch. The Riders defeated the Lions just 3 weeks ago, but BC was without Nathan Rourke under center, meaning they pose a much tougher test this time around.
The whole game changes with a different quarterback, so it's a matter of preparing for what's going to happen. Obviously, it can't be the same playbook when, you know, you have someone like Nathan Rourke down. So it's learning, right? They played 2 games after that, so obviously things have changed and new tendencies, new things like that. So it's just for us to prepare and be ready.
Kickoff tomorrow night is 5 p.m. Saskatchewan time on TSN. For a second straight year, Mike McEwen's Saskatoon rink won't have to go through provincial playdowns, as the team is already qualified for the 2026 Montana's Brier and St. John's. McEwen, just one of 3 teams earning an automatic invite. The other 2 are Team Brad Gushu and Team Matt Dunstone. Team Brad Jacobs also returning as Team Canada after winning last year's event. 13 young baton twirlers from the Queen City will represent Canada on the world stage in just a few short weeks. CTV's Jacob Carr caught up with the few members of the team as they prepare to compete against the best of the best.
5, 6, 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Over a dozen baton twirlers taking a few spins in preparation for the Nations Cup and World Baton Twirling Championships in Italy. Coaches say our province is well represented, with twirlers from Regina and Saskatoon making up about a quarter of Team Canada this year.
So that's really exciting for Saskatchewan and for a province our size to have such a large contingent. We're obviously very proud of our athletes. They work tremendously long hours and hard to get to this level of training.
For competitors like Gabriella Butchko, a large component of baton twirling is the mental side.
So like when you're tossing it, like you just have to keep doing like repetition over and over to kind of like have like muscle memory where your brain can finally be like, okay, I need to think of the corrections now, but I know how to do this trick.
This will be Malia Briere's first time representing Canada on the world stage. She says it's an amazing learning opportunity.
I feel like it'll just be kind of like, oh wow, it's gonna be like they can do this trick, I might want to try this trick like next year or in a couple of years.
Both athletes agreed that an added bonus of traveling to Torino will be the Italian cuisine, and for Butchko, it's an opportunity to form new friendships as well.
It'll be so exciting to meet many new people since everyone like is so kind and so like tight together. Like I know I'm really good friends with a lot of people from across Canada, so it'll be good to make new friendships internationally too.
The competition gets underway on August 2nd. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Today was the official grand opening for Pro Hockey Life in the Harbour Landing area. Seattle Kraken defenseman and former Regina Pat Riker Evans was there to sign autographs. It's the first location in Saskatchewan. The store says its staff is trained with hockey knowledge to provide customer service, and the store also holds NHL apparel that can't be found elsewhere in the province.
So this is something we've waited for a long time. We've always had ourselves interested in coming to this community. It's a great hockey community, and when the real estate opportunity came up, we totally jumped on it. And the ability to provide a hockey store of this magnitude to this community was just something that made sense for our business.
Saskatchewan product and assistant coach with the Seattle Kraken, Jessica Campbell, will be in store to sign autographs on Sunday, closing out the weekend festivities.
hands-on lessons, opening up new career opportunities at a special summer camp. Details after rural weather.
Just getting her stretches in. All right, let's take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow. So again, for the most part, much of your day, we're going to continue to see that sunshine until we start to see the system arrive from Alberta, depending on where we are. They'll enter from the west. We'll see mostly cloudy conditions and rain for many parts of southern Saskatchewan. But you can also see there is still sun in the forecast, especially for Hudson Bay, warmer than seasonal temperatures, 26 degrees, 23 and mostly cloudy for Melfort, and mostly cloudy and 24 for Wynyard. And then you can see which way that system is arriving from. Kindersley, 18 tomorrow, rain and a risk of thunderstorm, 20 and outlook and rain, 21 for Watrous and rain, 19 and rain for Lloydminster. When we get closer to the southern border, again, that's the way the system is arriving. So much of the southwest will see rain for most of the day. Starting first thing in the morning, 23 rain for Maple Creek, 21 for Rockglen rain, and then over in the southeast for much of the day we will see calmer, clearer conditions with a little bit of that cloud cover rolling in, and the rain won't arrive, especially in the Estevan, Carlisle area until later in the evening. So temperatures definitely cooler than your average, including Grenfell, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, located about 175 kilometers from Regina. 23, feeling like 25. The rain for Grenfell won't arrive until later in the evening, with heavier rain expected overnight tomorrow.
Girls are being introduced to careers in trades and technologies this summer thanks to a series of summer camps at Sask Polytech. Girls in grades 6, 7, and 8 are being introduced to future careers in the trade technology industries. Women who already have jobs in a variety of occupations are offering their guidance through hands-on examples. They also get to work on an individual project to take home at the end of the week.
Is you get to learn about all different trades, and it's good that we learn to what we want to do when we're older, so we can go get interested in it earlier. I like carpentry. It's fun because you get to do a lot of hands-on stuff, and at the end of the day, you can see all your progress.
The Girls Exploring Trades and Technology camps in Saskatoon and Moose Jaw run through tomorrow, while the Regina campus will hold its camp next week. There's certainly a lot of beauty on Canada's east coast, but a tour group in Cape Breton was treated to an especially rare and spectacular sight, a blue whale. CTV's Ryan McDonald has the details.
Most of the time, it might not exactly be newsworthy for a whale-watching tour to spot a whale, but this was a special kind of marine mammal.
We started seeing them at 9:30 yesterday morning.
This whale-watching tour guide in Ingonish was able to give his customers a special treat throughout the day as a blue whale that had made its way into the waters off Ingonish Harbour stuck around until supper time.
Oh, everyone was amazed. A lot of people said I made their day or made their week. They were very happy, and there was a lot of cheering and clapping for sure.
Yes, it absolutely is. That is one of the most amazing animals you'll ever get to see on the planet.
The head of the Marine Animal Response Society, or MARS, says it's not that unheard of for the biggest species of whale in the world to make its way into maritime waters. But to see an encounter that was that up close and personal is fairly rare.
I mean, we do get blue whales that will come to eastern Canadian waters in the summer, especially to feed and whatnot. But to have it that close to shore and in that location off Cape Breton is a pretty rare and special treat.
Back in Ingonish, the tour captain says the blue whale hasn't been spotted today, and he figures it may have moved along. But this isn't the only time they've seen something pretty spectacular. 7 years ago, nearly to the day, a pod of beluga whales made quite a sensation when they made an extended visit to the waters off the Cabot Trail.
They spent about 2 or 3 weeks in the channel there behind me between the two buoys, and people were able to go out and check them out every day with their boats.
For now, he and his lucky passengers are still talking about a whale of a tale and an up-close encounter they were lucky enough to catch on tape. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Ingonish, Nova Scotia.
Let's take a look at the markets now. The TSX down 72 points, trading at 27,314. The Dow Jones losing 142 points to 44,342. The Canadian dollar is up 13/100ths to 72.84 cents U.S. today. On the commodities side, gold gaining close to $11 an ounce. West Texas Intermediate crude down 16 cents a barrel. Western Canadian Select crude up 71 cents to 54.67 U.S. a barrel. And gas in Regina still most commonly found just below $1.32 per liter, while the lowest price in town today just under $1.15.
Hello there. Toronto's composite stock index and the S&P 500 both ended slightly down today from yesterday's record high closes. Bloomberg finance reporter Christine Dobby notes that U.S. banks gushed profits from trading in their latest quarter, and Canadian lenders are also set to benefit from the turbulence. Shares in National Bank of Canada, which is heavily exposed to capital markets, hit a record high today. And finally, those bicycle-loving people of Denmark are said to be among the world's happiest, avoiding ostentation or extremes. And it sounds like they're getting thinner as well. Denmark is home to Novo Nordisk, whose weight loss drugs have fueled the entire nation's economic growth. But Bloomberg says retailers are worried as food consumption declines. A trade association for Danish grocers says the drop could accelerate if the medications become cheaper or more accessible, such as through a tablet. That's the latest in business. I'm Andrew Bell of BNN Bloomberg.
Coming up tonight after the show, we have Celebrity Jeopardy. Fear Thy Neighbor. I was warning Lee about this.
I still don't know what it is.
It's very
scary. Okay, yeah. Noted.
And then Big Bang Theory, E-Talk, and I will be back for your late night news at 11:30. So,
and everybody better tune in tonight.
Well, you know it's Friday. People have plans, maybe.
You know what?
No pressure.
It's been a little bit of a fight with Morgan for me to get to this point, but it is a bittersweet day here at CTV Regina because we are bidding bon voyage to Morgan. She is taking a great adventure with her family to some incredible places, which I'll let you tell more about, but we are gonna miss you. I didn't think I was gonna get emotional.
This was your idea. This was your idea.
This was my idea.
No.
The newsroom has been so lucky to have you as a leader. You always downplay and you're so humble, but you have been an incredible anchor, literally and figuratively, getting through this because the newsroom is better because you were in it, guiding the reporters, and you've been an incredible asset to the young reporters, to the old ones like me and Lee. You've helped us laugh, cry, do push-ups, and all the rest. But important. We're not saying bye, it's bon voyage, because we know you're going to come back to us.
Yeah, I'll be gone for 6 months. So thank you so much for welcoming me into your homes these last few years. It's been a slice. See you at 11:30, and then maybe later.
Yeah.